Welcome to StarWatch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. What if you were walking through one of the world's most prestigious universities and suddenly realized the quiet stranger next to you was Wang Yibo? That's not a scene from a drama, it's real. And it happened. Cambridge University. No flashing lights, no cameras, no entourage, just Yibo, the breeze, and a moment that stole the hearts of millions. Stay with us, because what happened next isn't just a celebrity sighting. It's a masterclass in authenticity, elegance, and silent power. It began as just another afternoon on the timeless cobblestone paths of Cambridge University, a place where history breathes through every brick and anonymity often walks freely among the curious minds of the world. But that day, something unusual stirred beneath the tranquil surface. Without announcement, without entourage, without even the telltale signs of a celebrity sighting, a man quietly strolled past the grand arches and Gothic spires, dressed simply in a breezy floral shirt, rolled sleeves, black trousers, and white sneakers. There was nothing loud or performative about him, and yet, he caught the light in a way that made people stop. For those who looked closely, there was a quiet magnetism to him, the kind of presence you don't explain, only feel. A few passers-by hesitated. One student slowed down. Another turned. Someone whispered, "Is that Wang Yibo?" But no one rushed. No one screamed. They observed, almost reverently, as if not wanting to disturb a moment that somehow felt bigger than a mere celebrity sighting. What made this moment so captivating wasn't glamour. It wasn't fame. It was the contrast. The graceful paradox of a global star blending seamlessly into the calm of an academic sanctuary. There were no cameras flashing, no handlers clearing the way, no spotlight engineered to follow his every step. And yet, as the sun filtered through the trees and brushed against his hair, he looked like he belonged in a scene crafted by fate, or perhaps by a poet's imagination. This was not a red carpet. It was not a performance. But somehow it was unforgettable. In his silence, he made a statement. In his simplicity, he created art. That quiet walk through Cambridge reminded the world that some stars shine not because they demand attention, but because they carry something deeper, something timeless. What the world witnessed wasn't just Wang Yibo being recognized. It was Wang Yibo being seen, not for his status, but for his stillness, his presence, his choice to exist without spectacle. And in that fleeting, unplanned moment, he reminded us all that the most powerful impressions often come without a single word being spoken. It didn't take long. A few photographs surfaced, grainy, spontaneous, clearly taken with trembling hands from a respectful distance. A man walking near the ivy-covered walls of Cambridge, head slightly bowed, a coffee in hand, his long hair catching the early summer light. Within hours, those quiet images found their way across borders, languages, and timelines. What started as a soft murmur on local feeds quickly bloomed into a worldwide conversation. No hashtags had been prepared, no announcements had been scheduled, and yet, something about those fleeting images reached people in places far beyond the university's grounds. What captivated millions wasn't merely the fact that it was Wang Yibo, a global celebrity, dancer, actor, writer, and youth icon. It was how unintended it all felt. In a world that often prizes visibility, performance, and relentless self-promotion, here was someone entirely at ease with being unseen. He wasn't performing for anyone. He was simply walking. And perhaps that's why the moment struck so deeply. Across Seoul, Tokyo, Paris, Los Angeles, Bangkok, and Jakarta, reactions poured in. Many said the same thing. "There's something about this photo I can't stop looking at." People who had never watched his dramas, who hadn't followed his career, suddenly found themselves pausing. Not because of what he was doing, but because of how he was being. There was elegance in his stillness, dignity in his anonymity, a kind of natural glow that no stylist or filter could create. For longtime fans, the sighting confirmed something they had always believed, that Wang Yibo's magnetism doesn't come from spectacle, but from an inner calm that rarely needs explanation. For new admirers, it was an introduction not to a star, but to a presence. And for those somewhere in between, it felt like a reminder that authenticity, when it shows itself without effort, resonates far deeper than any campaign could manufacture. This was more than a celebrity caught off guard. This was a quiet revelation shared across continents. It reminded people that in a world drowning in noise, one sincere, unguarded moment could still rise above. Not because it demanded attention, but because it made space for people to feel something real. There's something undeniably compelling about a man who chooses silence in a world obsessed with noise. Wang Yibo has long been known not only for his talent, but for his refusal to overexpose himself, a quiet discipline that has become increasingly rare in today's entertainment culture. While others fill their feeds with rehearsed vulnerability and curated spontaneity, Yibo steps back. He watches, he listens, and when he does speak, it is with intention, never for the sake of performance. Those who have worked closely with him often describe a man of surprising contrast. On stage or in front of the camera, he commands attention with an intensity that feels effortless. But offstage, he becomes almost invisible by choice, a figure who drifts through rooms with measured steps, never asking to be seen, but never entirely unseen either. That quiet walk through Cambridge wasn't an outlier. It was a glimpse into who he truly is when the cameras aren't rolling. There is depth behind the stillness. He reads not just scripts, but history, philosophy, and poetry. He writes in longhand, often keeping notes that no one else ever sees. His curiosity isn't performative, it's personal. Whether it's learning a new language for a role or studying a director's previous work in detail, Yibo prepares in silence and lets the result speak louder than any behind-the-scenes clip could. One student who spotted him at Cambridge later said he mistook him for a visiting scholar, someone immersed in quiet reflection. That observation, perhaps unintended, holds more truth than it appears. Wang Yibo has never been a star who burns for attention. He is one who builds his light slowly, carefully, from within. And that light, once seen, is unforgettable. There's a certain courage in being quiet, especially when the world is constantly demanding that you speak, that you share, that you prove your worth through constant exposure. Yibo resists that pressure with grace. He doesn't chase relevance. He embodies it. And maybe that's what resonates most deeply with those who follow him. Not the loudness of his fame, but the calm certainty that he is someone who knows who he is, even when no one is watching. There are rare moments when life and art fold into each other so seamlessly that the line separating the two begins to blur. Seeing Wang Yibo walk quietly through the grounds of Cambridge was one of those moments. Not because of what he was doing, but because of what he seemed to embody. There was something in the way he moved, the subtle grace of each step, the still focus in his gaze, that felt almost cinematic. To some, it was as if a beloved character had quietly stepped off the screen and into the real world, still carrying the same depth, silence, and mystery. For many, the memory of his role in historical dramas such as Legend of Fei or The Untamed came flooding back. In those stories, he portrayed figures of quiet strength, men shaped by solitude, inner turmoil, and unwavering loyalty. Characters who spoke with their eyes, who walked through chaos with composure, and whose stillness said more than words ever could. And now, here he was in real life, appearing not in costume or performance but as himself, and yet somehow still carrying that same emotional weight. It's not that Wang Yibo was reenacting a role. On the contrary, what made the moment so affecting was that he wasn't performing at all. It was the authenticity of it, the unfiltered, unscripted truth of a man whose public image and private soul seemed, even for a brief moment, to align. There was no camera crew, no lighting, no audience. Just a man walking through a space of knowledge, culture, and history. Quietly, attentively, fully present. And in that stillness, people saw a reflection of the very characters they had once admired, but now in flesh and bone. This quiet merging of fiction and reality didn't just stir nostalgia. It touched something deeper. It reminded us that the roles actors play aren't always just imaginary. Sometimes they are chosen because they reflect who the actor already is beneath the surface. And perhaps, in Wang Yibo's case, His characters linger so long in the hearts of audiences not because he disappears into them, but because he carries parts of them with him, even when the spotlight fades. Here's what's truly remarkable. Wang Yibo didn't post. His team didn't announce anything. There was no sponsored content, no hot search manipulation, just silence. And somehow, that silence spoke louder than any headline. It quietly stirred up excitement for his next film, The Mermaid. People who had no intention of watching now say, "If he lives like this, I'm curious how he acts." This is not marketing. It's mastery. While other stars curate their lives, Wang Yibo simply lives. He doesn't pretend to be perfect. He admits when he uses eye drops during emotional scenes. He says, "I gained weight recently," and laughs about it. That's the kind of honesty the world needs more of, because authenticity is rare, and when people see it, they hold on to it. In a world flooded by overexposure, Wang Yibo is building a legacy with depth, dignity, and grace. Whether he's in Paris, a film set in China, or quietly admiring a building in Cambridge, he's not chasing the moment. He's letting the moment shape him. And maybe that's the real breakthrough netizens we're talking about. Not fame, not fashion, but freedom. So the next time you find yourself in a quiet corner of the world, look closely, because somewhere out there, the brightest stars shine without ever needing a spotlight. If this story touched you, inspired you, or made you see celebrity in a new light, don't forget to like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and most importantly, backhand index pointing right, subscribe to StarWatch Now for more inspiring stories from across Asia and beyond. We'll keep bringing you the real, the rare, and the unforgettable. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching. Thank you, glowing star.